Hi friends, thank you very much for sparing all your time and listening to all the speakers very patiently. What you see here on the back side is some of our technological marvels which I will be decoding today. So subject today is decoding the sustainable commerce. You have seen this slide hundreds of times. Everybody knows what are the sustainability goals, so I'm not talking much about that, and I'm moving straight away. Let me explain who am I and what is my organization. So, myself is Pankaj Gohil. I am the founder of a planning group which has developed a new display technology. Like you have LCD technology ruling the world, 96% of the market is captured by LCD as of now. We have developed a better technology which is called Sustainable Photonic Display, SPD. So now the future will be LCD versus SPD. It took me 2 decades of time to present you this technology. We have done all the market research. We have ISO certified commercial production with 1 million square feet of SPD photonic panels. Panin has done an extensive market survey and it's found its white space. I will explain you what are our white space and our blue ocean strategy. Panin, with its innovative technology and software power, has developed its own SaaS platform. You have heard about the SaaS platform, software as a service. We are offering eco-friendly hardware and software as a service, which is a totally new platform. When I saw this slide, it struck me big way. If you see this slide, 76% of greenhouse gas is emitted by 3 industries. That is manufacturing, power generation and transportation. I was thinking which is the vertical which is consuming all these 3 most, and I realized that the retail is the industry where all these 3 are extensively used. You need manufacturer to manufacture the products. You need electrical power at every stage, whether it is manufacturing, whether it is storage, whether it is distribution, or whether it is in the retail store. And at every stage the transportation is also involved. So I thought, why not do something where the commerce itself, the retail itself is sustainable, so that I can save this 76% of the greenhouse. You can see at what level of emission is 5,981 million metric tons of CO2. That is the power of US pollution. Next. Today I am decoding the S commerce. Now what is S commerce? S for sustainable commerce. Now generally there are 3 core stages of pollution and energy consumptions. The core one, I am talking about the commerce now. I am decoding the commerce. Core one is raw material procurement for the manufacturing. That is for the industry where they need raw material manufacturing. Once the product is manufactured, it goes from manufacturer to retail store. There is another retail chain. There is another distribution cycle which consumes a lot of energy, manpower. It creates a lot of pollutions. I will explain you every core 1, core 2, core 3 separately. And the third is product storage and sale at the retail store. Let me explain you everything one by one. The core 1, that is for manufacturing. When I come to the manufacturer needs 3 things. One, they need raw material supplier, they need component supplier, component of the machinery, products and other things, and they need consumables. So these 3 are the most important things which generally comes to the same cycle where they are stored in the warehouse of the stockist. It comes to the dealer, and from dealer it comes to the manufacturer. Now you can see the number of trucks traveling. So you have transportation involved, you have storage involved, you have warehouses, electricity involved, Everything is involved, and at manufacturing process, another energy is involved. So this is core 1. Now let's talk about core 2. Now once the product has come to the manufacturing, how it goes to the retail store. Again, it goes to the stockist. Stockists pick up the products from the manufacturing. There is a lot of transportation, lot of storage is involved. So electricity, transportation again involved. Again, from that warehouse it goes to all the various dealers. Again, lot of transportations, pollutions, everything is involved. And then it goes to the, so either it goes to superstore or the supermarket or the retail store. So you could see how much energy and pollution is generated during this core 1 and core 2. Next. Why this is happening? This is happening. I thought, why not do something very different? So generally today's commerce, that is brick and mortar, is on B2B plus B2C business model. That's the reason you find all this. We developed a new smart commerce. Now our malls are like this. They are not like a standard malls, where manufacturer can directly go to the customer. That's called D2C. And the products are sent to the cloud. No energy, no transportation, no pollutions. So core 3, energy consumption in superstore. I am just giving an example in UK. How much energy is consumed by a superstore. Forget about core 1 and core 2. That is plus. I am only talking about core 3. Supermarket nationwide consume 3% of the total is consumed by supermarkets. Just over and above core 1, core 2. Then compared to the other types of commercial building and supermarket is the highest specific energy consumption. And that's the reason I wanted to get inside. I wanted to save the max for the world. For largest store, energy intensity is 700 kilowatt per square meter per annum. Can you imagine this figure? 700 kilowatt. Now let me show you. Now this is the link from where we receive this detail. Next. So now you have understood what UK does. Now let's talk about the US, another big country, where energy in supermarket is in United States are 40 kilowatt per hour. I am talking about 50 kilowatt. Now here I am giving the figure for the CO2. How much CO2 is generated by a supermarket. In UK I was telling you how much energy was consumed by. So here if you see, it is 1900 tons of CO2 one supermarket consumes, which is equivalent to 360 vehicles that runs for 1 year. That's too much. So let's do the comparison. Now this is how your brick and mortar superstore looks, and this is how our sustainable commerce mall looks. This is the tomorrow, this is today. Now let me give you the difference between two in terms of sustainability. This is very important slide for you to understand. I'll take a little more time, but this is the slide. Now if you see brick and mortar store, they require 5000 square meter of space, because I am comparing 1000 to 1500 brands. Okay. The annual energy consumption as per that 700 kilowatt per square meter. For 5000 square meter it will consume 3.5 million kilowatt per hour per annum. 1900 tons of carbon per year. So it will consume this much energy and this much carbon it will release. Now the space consumed by brick and mortar compared to this. Now if you come this side, space required here is just 210 meter. Just think of 5000 square meter, it has come down to 210 square meter. The annual consumption is 54,720. Can you imagine? 3.5 million versus 0.5. That's a very big difference. And then instead of 1900 ton, it will just release 30 ton. 1900 to 30 is a big difference. So, what is concluded? Space consumed by brick and mortar store is 24 times than the digital supermarket that Penning is suggesting. And the energy consumption is 64 times than the supermarket of Penning. That means Penning can open 64 supermarkets at the power consumption of one brick and mortar market. So what is the net saving? Even if I open one supermarket, what I am saving? It saves 3.4 million kilowatts of energy. 47,900 square feet of commercial space. Big money. Big energy saved, big money saved. And 1817 tons of carbon per year. This is only 1 versus 1. Now, Penning has a 1 million square feet of production capacity. So, Penning can install 100 such superstores every year. You can imagine the amount of energy we can save, amount of carbon we can save. That's the reason. Now, another thing which nobody touched in the sustainability, that is called electronic waste. The SPD, the Sustainable Photonic Display, does not have electronics. The screen behind me is a Sustainable Photonic Display. It is not a video wall of electronics. It is manufactured in our own factory. And what is today's trend? Old electronics don't die, they pile up. Now what is the pile up? Let me show you. If you see, the last year's e-waste monitor, it is 53.6 million tons of electronic waste generated only from electrical equipment. I am not talking anything else. This is too much, and it represents 21% jump in like last 5 years. Naturally, next 5 years, it is jumping, and it is jumping at what level? 2 million tons per annum. 2 million tons per annum. This is the most toxic e-waste. That is the most toxic product. Nobody wants to recycle because it will create more pollution to recycle it. That's where we come into picture. Now, what is the impact of e-waste? Let me tell you that also. Why I call it toxic? E-waste consists of very dangerous lead, mercury, cadmium, those kind of elements which are very toxic in the nature. It is affecting the humans also. There are many health related problems, brain damages, bronchitis and respiratory problems that are also created because of e-waste generation. The effect on environment. E-waste is an environment hazard causing groundwater pollution, acidification and soil contamination. That means it is impacting environment, it is impacting humans, it is impacting everything. So water, everything is just impacting. And that's why we should address this problem very seriously. And in our electronics, if we install 1 million square feet of SPD, we can reduce very big way electronic waste. I'll tell you how much we can do. If you see, at Penning, we address all people, planet and profit. For people, we are very much into upliftment of thousands of deprived human assets. We make them productive and prosperous. For protecting the environment, I just explained, we reduce millions of pounds of e-waste, thousands of tons of carbon and save billions liters of water. Why billions liters of water? Because to make one monitor, you need 50,000 liters of water. You can Google and search it. I am talking about 1 million square feet of display. So I am very conservative when I say this. It can be even bigger. And when I say we help economy, how? We work as a growth partner. We have our platform, we have our technology, we have our software platform, everything, and we make sure that we help business to grow multiple times using our products and technology. So what we say, we make millionaires. We don't make millions, we make millionaires, and we boost the economy. Now, how we are telling that we are the growth partner? What do we have to become a growth partner? So, we are the owner of the technology, that is sustainable photonic display. We are the owner of production. We are the only people who have this technology. We are the only people in the world who can manufacture this. That is our USP. We are owner of the products, that is physical store and physical markets. Both we own. We never sell the product. Our model is only leasing in the market. We don't want capital incentive business models. What people do, we always create low risk, high gain models. We have created this new commerce. You have heard that it is commerce and e-commerce. There are only two platforms to purchase anything. We are coming up with the third front called S-commerce, that is sustainable commerce. You can call it a smart commerce also. It is smart. The innovative D2 model. So when this smart commerce, when blended with this technology product solutions and D2 model, we definitely serve the people, save planet, and generate a lot of profit. This is how our mall looks. If you see, there is a lot of space to be inside, and you are surrounded by lots of hundreds of brands. All are waiting for you to enjoy. So you will enjoy spending in this kind of malls. That's the future. So this occupies very small space, and it's very easy. There are no trolleys, no queues, no cash counter. You just move, click and buy. That's the future. The product will be delivered at home. So when I talk about S-commerce and SaaS platform, you must be thinking about what are these jargons. So let me explain you this. Now this is our own photonic display, which you see, which is manufactured in our own factory. So what you see now is a digital store. If you see, the products are coming, they are all rotating 360 degrees. So when the person is there, he can, without anything, he will be able to see variety of products, he will see variety of schemes running over that, and the brand of the store. That means this is a branded store from where I am purchasing. So authenticity of this product and authenticity of supply, both is confirmed to me, which is not there. In e-commerce, you don't know the authenticity of supply, authenticity of product. Here, authenticity of supplier is here. This is the brand name. So this is the authentic supplier and this is the authentic product. Both are guaranteed. Benefits you are getting anyway. What you get on e-commerce, you are getting. Here is the physical store. The beauty is that when you go to e-commerce, you are one person and you have 1,000 brands in front of you to purchase. Here it is one brand and thousands of customers are seeing that. That's a big difference in e-commerce and S-commerce. And it's a physical store. There is no employee, no other cost, no operating expenses, no other expenses.
Greetings from Dubai and a very warm welcome to the second grand celebrations of the Global Sustainable Development Summit 2022. Over the next 3 days, we aim to unlock the potential of SMEs for SDGs, and this is the ideal platform for each one of you present here. Your host for this evening is Sagarika Sahu. I'm the Managing Director, Commerce Connect, and founder of Wexpo, a digital platform for women working on or towards sustainable development goals. On behalf of Mr. Santosh Ganesh, founder and global chairperson, GCPIT, a very warm welcome once again. At the Global Council for Promotion for International Trade, Global Council for Cluster Excellence and Research, Confederation of Indian Micro, Small, and Medium Enterprises, we think that a diverse and a fair community is good for creativity, partnership, and innovation. This year, at the Global Sustainable Development Summit 2022, we want to focus on cooperatives, partnerships, creative and circular economy for sustainable economic development. The 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development is now halfway done and has never been more critical to move quickly from promises to action. In fact, in the 2022 Sustainable Development Goals report, Secretary General Antonio Guterres warned that cascading and interlinked global crisis puts the goals in danger. The 2023 agenda also recognized technology as a means of implementation of the SDG goals, along with the global partnerships that bring together governments, civil society, and the private sector and international organizations. When it is built and used in a trustworthy, responsible, and inclusive way, technology can be a force for good in the world and in people's lives. We at the Global Council for Promotion of International Trade, Global Council for Cluster Excellence and Research, Confederation of Indian Micro, Small, and Medium Enterprises, and 20+ alliances and councils promoted by the GCPIT have been committed to the SDG goals from the beginning and remain steadfast in our efforts to make them a reality. In this line with our mission, which is to help every person and organization on the planet to do more by supporting and advancing the Global Charter. We have worked with different organizations to help meet almost every single SDG goal, such as our work on the digital MSMEs and access to local, regional, and global markets. Santosh Ji, the global chairperson of GCPIT, said again that it's important to partner with governments, industries, and civil societies on the 7 SDGs. Last year, I'm sure most of you all were present here at the Global Sustainable Development Summit. More than 160 global speakers from over 50 countries talked about how digital technology, innovation, and partnerships are important for making progress on the SDGs. For example, we work with industrial association and chambers to promote sustainable economic development through the Global Impact Entrepreneurs.com, SMEGlocal.com, a digital platform designed to help millions of MSMEs to deal with the challenges of digital transformation in times of war, crisis, and migration. It is an online digital SME and impact startups platform. The beta platform is now alive. As part of the SDG 8, recent work and economic growth. The GCPIT also and the UFirst Eduversity are working together to start a digital skilling initiative in January 2023. I'm sure this calls for a lot of good work happening at GCPIT. This will also help workers around the world. By 2030, the programs will help 100 million people to get important digital skills they need. We also have big promises about the SDG goals, and which is about the climate change. And this calls for climate action. For example, we are working with Carbon Call with the Global Alliance for Climate Change and Environment, and more than 20 other alliances and councils to improve the reliability and interoperability of carbon counting for the whole planet. We need to do more though. Based on our mission to work with alliances and councils, a team was created in 2021 to deepen and expand our commitment to the UN's mission, multilateral and regional institutions, development banks, governments, local communities, and stakeholders. This GCPIT team will focus on making sure that the SDG goals are met and that everyone benefits from its economic growth. They will also try to encourage evidence-based policy development to help the digital transformation and speed up the use of digital technologies to support international systems and their missions. Our work to help reach the SDG goals is mostly about two things: how important it is to support progress in the developing countries, and how important is it to deal with problems where technologies and society meet. To make sure that the digital technology can have a strong base for achieving these SDG goals, it's important that the intersection of technology and society needs to be solved. And also, this cannot be done without the help of working with local governments, civil society, the technical community, and the other relevant stakeholders to build a trustworthy digital foundation that can lead to economic opportunities for everyone, protect basic human rights, and make more sustainable future for the environment. This is a big project for the team, and it will help create policy frameworks that encourage responsible development and make it easier for these technologies to be used all over the globe. We know that the organizations and governments can use digital technologies in a responsible way and to do more with less, use scarce resources in a more effective and accountable way, and build a stronger foundation for the future. The Global Council on Digital Equity, Literacy, Safety, and Inclusion is looking forward to giving a boost shot to the Sustainable Development Goals to keep building a strong foundation for achieving the SDGs and making the progress on pledges. That's why we all have gathered here. The second edition of the Global Sustainable Development Summit 2022 has the honor to start with our first speaker, Mr. Sanjay Sethi, Executive Director at the Plant-Based Food Industry Association. Mr. Sethi is a graduate of Haryana Agriculture University, Hisar, and is the Executive Director at PBFIA. He completed his master's from IRMA and later did a course on sustainability at the Yale Business, a graduate from the Haryana Agriculture University. And he later on, Sanjay Sethi also brings 3 decades of experience in agriculture and sustainability fields to the table of plant-based foods. Previously, he was the board of Sustainable Rice Platform, an initiative of the UN Environment and International Rice Research Institute. He's also at the steering committee of the Global Agribusiness Alliance of the World Business Council for Sustainable Development, Geneva. Bringing to light the dawn of a plant-based age, India to lead the way to the world food security and nutrition. Please welcome Mr. Sanjay Sethi.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon, everyone. Good evening. My name is Sanjay Sethi, and it's such a great pleasure to be part of this global network on Global Sustainable Development Summit. We believe that sustainability is a word which has been used quite often, and many people understand it very well. But many people also think that they understand, but they don't. One of the reasons for that is that the sustainability is so vast, such a vast subject. It's really very difficult to understand that how 17 SDGs, how they work with each other, and how we are able to measure the sustainable progress. These are huge subjects, and it's difficult to understand. But the thumb rule is that if we are doing good on one hand, we may not be doing so good on the other hand. Just to give you an example, plant-based foods industry, although we are working on replacing animal foods with more sustainable plant foods. But at the same time, while we are doing such a great sustainable progress, we have to also understand that are we not causing any packaging waste? Are we not causing any more additional use of water? So that it should not happen that the sustainable progress which has been done at one end is nullified by bad sustainability on another end. So to give you an example, that at Sustainable Foods, I used to be part of Sustainable Rice Platform. There used to be a lot of parameters by which you could get the kind of the stamp, the label that yes, you are SRP verified. And those marks you used to get on the basis of food waste, on the basis of the involvement of gender, on the basis of lack of chemicals in food production, or various other SDGs which get impacted, which includes water, it includes so many other things, including life on land, including whether you are taking care of the soil biodiversity or not. So those were the ways that we were getting sustainable score. Now at plant-based foods, what we are focusing on, we are merely focusing on taste. That if we are able to provide a tasty vegetarian or vegan food, plant-based food, which is as good as meat or dairy products or ice cream or milk, but it is not come from the animal sources, it has come from the plant-based sources. So that means we can call our product as plant-based, not only plant only, just plant-based. That means it replaces the animal sources of food. So if our product has become plant-based, that means it has become now a sustainable way of feeding humans. Instead of first feeding 9 calories to the animals and then from there getting 1 calorie as food for human, either in the form of meat or dairy, we are straight away feeding directly to humans that 1 calorie. So we save 8 calories in the form of inefficient route of animal sources of foods. So those plant-based are growing at a fast pace, merely focusing only on taste. We are ensuring that we mimic the taste of the animal sources of foods. So this kind of a product is way above or different or farther than the vegan products which we used to have, which was something like dal. Dal is or legume or the normal pasta. So all those foods were basically vegetarian, vegan foods, which did not have any animal sources of foods, whether it was cheese or it was meat. Now we are saying we will produce foods which will replace the animal sources of foods. That's why we are calling it as a new name given to it called plant-based foods. So plant-based foods has become such a big rage that now organizations are changing ingredients and they're thinking, okay, instead of having fish meal, can I have a fish meal kind of a product which can be from plant sources? So that means they are coming out with those products which are plant-based, not necessarily replacing the entire value chain. So, but it's a good one step forward. So this one step forward means that now slowly, we will be able to reduce the meat consumption. We will be able to reduce the dairy consumption. We will be able to reduce our dependence on animal sources. That means replacing the animals out of the food value chain. So the impact will not be only on the sustainability. Impact will also be on the food security because you will be able to feed more people. They say that we have enough resources available to produce food for 10 billion people, provided everybody becomes plant-based and vegan. But today, we barely feed 8 billion people, and then also some of them, they go hungry. So, sustainability and food security is the one aspect of plant-based foods. The other aspect is health. There are many people who are lactose intolerant, who feel that if they will consume red meat, they will get heart disease or other hypertension or other diseases which are very dangerous because they are linked with the saturated fats coming from animal sources. Some people say that consuming animal sources of foods is basically poison. Why they say it? Because it leads to cancer. Or there is a recent phenomenon that in Pakistan, there's a very significant drop in the chicken consumption, because they feel that there are additional growth factors which are there inside the plant-based, inside the animal sources of foods, which are not required by the body. In milk, people think that this is for the calf, not for the grown-up human beings. So as a result, we don't have to consume that milk. So because of these various reasons, there is a scare. And then there are diseases like mad cow disease or bird flu, or there are so many diseases which come in animals. Corona was one of those, which we fear that they will jump onto human being. So they want to keep away from the animal sources of foods. That is why during Corona times, the chicken consumption and the meat consumption dropped significantly, because there was a scare. So because of the health perception and sustainability and food security, the consumption of plant-based foods is going up. The third reason for which the plant-based foods consumption is going up is because of the ethical concerns. They say that SDG 15, which is life on land, it does not mean that first you take care of chicken and then you slaughter those chicken and eat them. Then it's not following the SDG 15, that is life on land. Taking care of SDG 15 means taking care of animals. That it is somehow morally not right that we slaughter another animal to fill our stomach, especially so that there is a food, but you want to taste that. So will you ever eat a dog meat? No. So why? Because we love dogs. So when we love dogs, how is that we don't love chicken or the large animals or goat? So this is how there is a rising perception that even if it is dairy, what will happen to the male calf? It will go for the slaughterhouse. So we should not consume the animal sources of foods. So because of ethical concerns, because of health, and because of sustainability and food security, plant-based movement is here to stay. It's growing at a very fast pace. Number of vegans have gone up by 0.5% to 3%. Investment is rising in this field. Young boys and girls, they are investing into it. By some surveys, it has been shown that youngsters, they care for all this. They care for sustainability, and they're willing to pay a premium for such products. So because of these new changes which are coming in, it looks like that animal sources of foods will actually become stranded assets. And we will not be able to sustain such kind of an agriculture for a long time. We have been so far calling it poultry farming, whereas it's not poultry farming, it's actually poultry genocide. So I think you would see that the governments after governments, they would start to remove the support which is available for the animal sources of foods, and they will begin to become more and more expensive. And plant-based sources of foods would be more and more incentivized. Perhaps that is why you would see that there is huge trend in people proudly saying that now we want to consume plant-based foods. And as a result, the commitments which the governments have given, for example, I am in India, Indian government has said by 2070, we would be net zero of any emissions. How would we do that if we don't focus on 20% of the greenhouse gas emissions which are coming through agriculture, and significant part of that comes from animal sources of foods. So let us say 15% or 14% comes because of the animal sources of foods, and so much of greenhouse gas emissions are caused by that. So then you have to focus on that, because by focusing on the big ticket items, only we will be able to make some significant impact on the overall emissions, so that our commitment to net zero is totally justified and proven. So that is why we feel that animal sources of foods will be discouraged, and governments will also provide support And slowly, slowly, people will forget that there used to be a time that there was animal sources of foods. Even if it would remain a rich man's food. That means the tables will turn completely. Today, plant-based foods is more expensive, but the level playing field is being found. At Plant-Based Foods Industry Association, we work with the government precisely for this. We work on the supply chain precisely for this. We work with the investors so that they can invest more. We work with the various scientists and innovation so that we come out with more and more tasty food which are absolutely like plant-based, like animal sources of food. So that as an overall impact is even more amazing, and this transition is faster. So today I request all of you, those who are listening, please turn plant-based, do not consume animal sources of foods, and encourage others and encourage Plant-Based Foods Industry Association. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sethi. Those are really great insights. Moving on to the next speaker brings forth a topic which is very close to my heart: improving mental health and well-being through innovative approaches and interventions. Dr. Neelam Bhardwaj, founder and director of Health Life, ex-UNICEF and UNFPA, headquartered in New York. Dr. Neelam Bhardwaj has over 30 years of experience in the medical field. A highly skilled doctor, she currently works as a social obstetrician, wellness practitioner, and global public health expert in the area of reproductive, maternal, newborn, child, and adolescent health. She is driven by a passion to empower young girls and women from underprivileged communities. Dr. Neelam Bhardwaj, for you.
Thank you very much, Sagarika. This is a very, I would say, elaborate introduction. And I think it's been very learning for me. I've been listening to the various speakers, and it's just that I'm from a different field, and it's my privilege to be on this platform today and speak to all of you. And of course, mental health is extremely important. So I'm going to share an important story and the work that we are doing at the grassroots level with you. And if you permit me, I want to upload my presentation and start the session. Let me see if I can find my presentation. Yes. And doctors are not very good at these things, but somehow I've managed to get it. Okay, so thank you very much once again. And for me, it is a first experience to be with the business community. And this, of course, will be very learning from both the sides. But what I want to say here is that we are working so much and sustainable development goals, as most of the speakers have said, that everybody needs to contribute, and civil society, which is very, very important for us to move ahead, irrespective of how much we contribute and how much we talk about different sections of the society, everybody has to contribute irrespective of the spectrum where that person lies. After having 20 years of working experience with the United Nations and all over the world, I decided to work for the most vulnerable people of this society. And when the first time I met Santosh, and I asked him, I'm talking about most vulnerable. I'm not talking about people who are very good at business. I'm not talking about people who are good at supply chain and other things that you talk about. And he laughed. He said, no, but we are inclusive and we want to hear from you. So when I met and spoke with him, and he was very forthcoming, very encouraging to come at this platform and speak and showcase the model that I'm working with at the grassroots level. So that's the reason I'm here. And I'm happy to be connected after the meeting also for all the questions that people may have for me. Running quickly and, in the interest of time, I would like to start by saying that, the Global Council for Promotion of International Trade is a great platform. What I've understood a little bit about studying, that you're talking about the micro, small, and medium-sized businesses to support them for long-term businesses. We have technology, we have everything. So what is it that we don't have? We need to put coordination mechanisms in place. Everybody is very busy. We need to collaborate at various levels to make sure that our business develops, and we need to connect with people. So that is what the whole story is about. Coordination, which is very difficult to get people on board. And I think this is very spectacular that you have so many people on board and have very successful summits in the past. Having said that, we know that we have technology, but we don't have time to use that technology. So what do we need to do? We need to keep our minds in place. How do we handle all the technology that we have, all the knowledge that we have, and all that is happening around us in the world? So we have to be very careful about what happens to us in the whole process of running and this race that we are in today. We forget ourselves. And that is where the problem comes. And that is where I'm stepping in to talk about a little bit about mental health. We have to be very aware of our brain and mind. It has so much of potential of absorbing stuff. But something that you want to do in life gets programmed automatically in your mind and body. So that's what we are doing. All the people at this platform are thinking about business, how to multiply the finances, how to help other people. But in this whole drama of running after the funds and getting the whole thing together, we forget ourselves. So what here I'm saying is reprogram your mind. Tell yourself that you need to first believe in yourself and also take care of yourself in the race that you are and the potential that you have. And you want to you want to unleash your potential, and you want to reach to the last mile. What is it that you need to? You don't want to drain yourself. So how will you reprogram yourself every day and think positive and say, okay, this is what I want to do, and this is where I'm going. Now you're looking at a picture of a girl who doesn't have, is disabled, but is a swimming champion. How does that happen? So life is not about just running without breaks. We need to have breaks, and then we need to be emotionally intelligent. We need to make sure that we have leadership that brings people together, and we make sure that people are working with us. We increase their performance, and they also become the performance. And then we decrease the stress in the occupation. The work that we are doing, getting money in place, getting businesses in place, is not easy. So there's so much of stress. How do you make the decisions that are right? How do you make personal well-being? And how do you get that emotional intelligence where you can harmonize all the relationships that you have around you? So there has to be clarity and transparency in the business that you do so that everybody enjoys what they do. So all these things that I'm saying are big topics in itself, but I'm just, trying to open up all the areas that we could speak later on whenever we have opportunity to speak. So self-care and self-healing is extremely, extremely important for all the people at this platform who are trying to bring in the change. So the types of self-care is at the physical level, emotional level, social level, and spiritual level. We don't have time to go into the details today, but it's just time to reflect and think. We need to have conversations with ourselves every night. What is it that I need to do for myself after this hectic day that I had today? Not just keep on going like any car or a vehicle that would break at the end of the day. So that is my job as a medical doctor, to stop you guys and say, listen, hey, take a break, reflect, and then enjoy a little bit of what you do. Now, going ahead, this girl is suffering from cerebral palsy, and she's talking about her dreams. We have changed her perception that she can earn money, she can talk. But are, as a society, going to accept her? The kind of confidence she needs to speak in front of people like us is very different from a normal person would behave. But we are trying to empower people who are disabled, but they are able to build their capacity, do things that people thought they would not be able to do. So what does Help Life do? Help Life is working with people who have no opportunities, whether they are financial, social, physical. Nobody, they are not in any data. People, we don't see them because they're in very remote parts of the world. In India also, they are not in any statistics, and they are the ones who lost jobs into poverty, and they are very much into the intergenerational poverty cycle. How do we get them out from there? I'm used to doing some tough things in life. So what I'm doing is now creating sustainable solutions in livelihood for women and men with disabilities in rural areas, and also all the vulnerable communities wherever they are. I call it innovative business model, but a lot of people say, no, this is social impact model. But I think after a few years, everybody will agree with me and say, yes, it looks like a business model now. So mainstreaming disability through a very integrated approach with a package, which will help us to make sure that the families don't get into poverty again. I'm creating champions of change, and all these champions of change are actually people with disabilities. So they love their disability, they want to project themselves the way they are, and they want people like you to accept them. So we are trying to create these transformational societies throughout India, and we are not contributing to each and every sustainable development goal. It is not possible, but we are focusing on 8 SDGs. That is no poverty, zero hunger, good health and well-being, quality education, gender equality, reducing inequalities, creating sustainable cities by stopping migrations, creating more slums, and then partnerships. So here I am as another with very important partner, that is your platform. So integrated comprehensive minimum package that I'm using for people with disability is about physical accessibility of the tools, physiotherapy, medical checkups, and accessibility and their rights to the services. On the mental aspect, we have wellness, meditation, emotional healing, personality development, interdependent living, and self-care, the most important component. Socially, I'm not going to go into the details, but we do a lot of mapping exercises with the families, and trying to take away all the emotional drama that goes on within the families, not allowing people to grow within the families. We take care of that, and also the finance component, which of course, microfinancing, costing exercises, supply chains, marketing, and partnerships for creating sustainable livelihood, where of course your platform is going to help me. Now, when we talk about innovating minds, we have to work a lot with them. You have to bring in, so you first recognize the change. Unless we change the situation that we are in, nothing is going to change in our life. So irrespective of where you are with the disability, with the mental disability, you are stressed, whatever may be happening to you, the change that is required in your life, you have to bring it. Nobody else can bring it for you. So we have to stop the blame game of, I'm doing it for children, I'm doing it for husband, I'm doing it for X, Y, and Z. It is you for yourself, and you have to practice awareness, and you have to make sure that your emotional state is always very, very right, balanced. So this transformative approach that I'm talking about today is about empowering the people and then making them action-oriented and transforming their lives. Most of the people that I'm working with are 90% disability. Some of them are with spinal cord injuries, on wheelchairs, and we are having partnerships with them and the kind of business they want to do. We have stories that are very much in publishing, and we can share with you after some time. So the sustainable innovative business model that I'm talking about, this vulnerable community, is life cycle approach. It's about starting from pregnancy, what happens, how the mother thinks about this baby, and then the baby then comes into this world, how world treats this baby and what the baby becomes. It's not something small, it's not something piecemeal. So what I do is absolutely a package of care for human development. So basically we are contributing to all the SDGs when we are talking about our balanced approach. So if we practice a comprehensive package, integrated approach at every level, including business, the way we look at business, the way we envision business, and the way we think, how are we going to move ahead in this business that we remain balanced, and the teams with us that we are empowering keep doing that business so that we don't fail. If you want that kind of vision, then definitely what we want is holding hands with each other, creating partnerships that are everlasting. And if you look at these communities, look at these women who are living in remote parts of their villages, nobody spoke with them, they're all on wheelchair with spinal injuries. You can see them happy and joyful because now they're doing business. They are independent, and they have financial independence, and they're not dependent on anybody, and they're out of sympathy, out of fear, and having a joyful life. So I'm going to stop here. I know I have only 15 minutes. And if there's a chance for question answers, if not, I'm happy to answer any questions if there are after the meeting is over. Thank you very much for giving me a chance to speak at this forum. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Neelam, and also to Help Life for doing such an amazing job. Next, it's such an honor to have our chief guest, Dr. Bernardo Javel Quinto, Professor, Business Ethics, member, Bretton Woods Committee, to educate us on tools to obtain goals for UN SDG. Dr. Javal Quinto, economist, was born in New York City, USA, and currently an advisor to countries, board of directors, and CEOs worldwide. He has the expertise in business development and provides advisory services to companies wishing to do business in Chile. Mr. Joal Quinto has been associated with companies such as the World Bank, ISC, Embassy of Chile in the US, and also Henkel Lechtel. Let's welcome Dr. Joal Quinto to share his education and experience with us over here. Thank you.
Thank you very much for this opportunity, and I would like to join with all the other speakers. I agree 100% with them, and as you mentioned, I had a lot of experience working with the 17 goals of the United Nations. And what I would say to the people is that I took this citation from Carl Sagan, which he was a great astrophysical person, and he said there is no plan B, and there is no planet B. In our obscurity, in all the vastness of the universe, there's no hint that help will come from somewhere else to save us from ourselves. We need to help ourselves to save our planet. So, saying that, I took the time to try to concentrate in the main topics and the tools that we require to work in the human capital, which is the most important asset of anything. If we don't invest in human capital, I would say that social justice and freedom is the supreme value of every person, and freedom is essential for economic prosperity in any society in the world, and social and human development as well, because if we do not have freedom, we do not have development. Understanding this recognition, I have received this opportunity to be and talk about the 17 goals of the United Nations. First of all, for the fight against social inequality, climate change, women empowerment, youth employment, incentive and promotion of peace through education. Education, I think we have to really think that without education, we have nothing else. Therefore, all issues must be addressed from all the sectors of society, and we can build a better and more sustainable society with more equity and better opportunities to all of us. The first question that rises to my mind would be how we can do this. How we can achieve to get all the people talking in the same language and with the same goals. It's difficult because, first of all, I mean, as we all know, we reach to the 8 billion people, as a society, and the world is a completely in crisis today with inflation, economic issues, political, and people is not really agreeing and advancing in anything. So how do we do this that we are proposing? And I agree with all the speakers before me. for instance, here in Latin America, where I am, I'm from the United States, but I work in Latin America because we have 51% of the society that lives under the line of poverty. We would like to, and we have been working to launch in orbit a satellite that can signal and carry a Wi-Fi signal to all the people that do not have access to Wi-Fi. Why? Because this is being done in Asia and in Africa. Sorry. We lack one in Latin America. And Latin America, for instance, many countries could take the lead because we can reach millions of people in where commercial satellites do not send Wi-Fi free to poor people. Therefore, if we do not have Wi-Fi for poor people, which is the tool that today the pandemic made us to take an advance and move forward to integrate technology in everything. People are working at home, people are understanding that they can contaminate less. What we are not prepared is exactly to the most important issue, which is getting education through internet. And to get through internet, we need to have satellites that send free signal to people, so the volume of people that do not have access to that, they can have this opportunity. This, as I mentioned, has been done in Asia, in Africa, and we would like to do it here in Latin America. We are in conversations with companies, and the other issue that is extremely important is that we have a big problem in providing drinking water and irrigation for areas that are desertified by natural disaster. Just think the global society necessity. There's no water, there's no life. The third social issue is social justice. If we do not have peace, as we should have, many people all over the world does not have any support to take initiative in social justice. This role is extremely important, that universities, institutions, and organizations, they can help to develop socially and economic education centers to give and get closer to people. If we do not get closer to the people, we cannot have and give these tools to people. We are creating also institutions and educations, which are, we call them social entrepreneurship, which centers that all the profits that the company makes reinvest the money in the company, so everybody benefits in the company, and that it has to be taught in a certain way, and we cannot be always be so greedy that like what are the teachings of a Nobel Peace Prize in Chicago, at the Chicago University, in which they want to economically maximize profits, minimum investment, and a reduction of cost. That it's terrible for our society, because we don't do things well. We do everything halfway. And if we do not invest money in people, we don't have the access to give the people the opportunity to dream. That's what I call the lost generation, because the lost generation means that we have people that before the pandemic started losing faith that they will be somebody someday. I speak this, because working at the World Bank, I was able to go to Africa, to many different countries, and we saw that there was no hope. People, they didn't have faith. They would never go anywhere in their life. So what we have to do is facilitate, have a dialogue with all the development people, so we can no longer ignore these most important issues that I'm mentioning in this beautiful uh, effort and summit that I was invited. So we have to give them back to the poor what belongs to them, which is simply they cannot live under welfare all the time. We need to give them the tools so they can go and fish. And that is not being done. I think that if we work, I think with peace, with love, solidarity, and a moral duty, all of us, that we cannot ignore, the model that we need to build among all of us is to support a people, so in all over the world we can all be thinking in the same manner, teaching them to how to create jobs. If they create jobs, they will be able to sustain themselves and their families. And this is being done in many countries in the world. What I'm saying is nothing new. It's something that is not getting spread because it doesn't. It's not an important new. Politics today, they like to have ignorant people, they like to have poor people, because they will gain votes, promising thousands of things to people, but they never accomplish anything. And that's why people today, if you see most of the countries, they're rising because they are very upset with the system that we are giving them. So it's our responsibility to give them the tools so they can have a future for them. And it's important for us as well to leave a legacy for the generations that are coming. So I think in the eyes of all the people, if we can provide this tool to the people, so we can reduce unemployment, if we can incentive value added, innovation, investing in all these people that can have their own business, social entrepreneurship, it's a we understand very well entrepreneurship, but the social part is the one that we always left apart because we care about profit. That's all that we have been taught along our lives. So what we have to teach them is this little, word that it says social, and social means that we have to do one step more so we can invest in our society so we all benefits. The company benefits, the community benefits. We do something social for the rest of the people, and the country and the entire humanity will have this in their minds, the word, social entrepreneurship. And well, I think I don't want to go over the 15 minutes. I So I must say that the future of humanity is in our hands, not only in the governments or big egos of these multimillionaire people that are doing a lot of things, but they only satisfy themselves. And it's in our hands to do the good to citizens and the ability to organize our humbly conviction and worthily in the process with our heart, love, and there we shouldn't see homeless people, people that we should see also people with decent jobs, workers with their rights. We cannot exclude people that are invisible to the governments because they do not exist. We need to take care of the people, and not the government take advantage of people. We are here to be servants of humanity. So I would say that we have to see how we can take advantage of this summit, as I said several times. We cannot not talk about the elderly, because they were the ones that gave us life. We have to take care of them, and in most of the countries in the world, nobody cares about their mother, their fathers, and finally, there's so much abundance in our planet that I would say that the style triumphs over substance temporarily, but ultimately the substance would always have the last word, and the last word is social entrepreneurship by the education, because that is the solution. Thank you very much.